Hello and welcome to the Note Coach podcast. This is episode 361. How many bubbles do you need for a sound bath? I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg, joined today by Anna Hasty. I didn't check how to say your surname.
Yeah, I know,
Wonderful.
right? That's awkward moment, Suzanne.
Yeah. Oh, this is why, I love my show. I don't edit. Life's awkward. Anna, I was just recording coming out on her show and she mentions that she does this sound baths. And anyway, what you said that just cracked me up because I was like, I would have been the one many a moon ago before I got into the healing kind of world who, not knowing what a sound bath was, if I'd booked one, would have been like, do I need to be in the actual bath? Because if you don't know, like, how often do you come across something? I remember, side note, but we had friends who had just moved here from South Africa and we invited them around and we said, come around for tea, bring a plate. Anyway, so they turn up with this gorgeous, luscious kind of like gold gilded plate, which they handed me. And I was like, okay, because they didn't know bring a plate meant bring a plate of food. And anyway, when I served them dinner, I could see them kind of step back, but they didn't say a word, ate it all. It wasn't until we were friends, like 6 months later, they said, the first time that we came to your house and you said come for tea, we assumed you meant like a cup of tea, so we'd already eaten. And then you put on this big spread and we had to eat again because we were too embarrassed to say anything. So all of this to say, if you're listening to this and you have no idea what a sound bath is either,
Yes.
I do know now, so that's why I thought this was amusing, but you wouldn't be alone. So all of this to say, Anna, can you tell us about sound baths, sound healings, please? Especially imagining that people listening to this have no idea what you're talking about.
I know, right? Well, yeah, funny question. I did have someone ask me, this is the whole point, is that someone said to me, so with a sound bath, do I actually need to be in the bath to receive it? And I'm like, that's a really good question. Understand how that could be a bit confusing. No, you can actually be in a bath to receive a sound bath, but you do not need to own a bath to receive a sound bath. It's not mandatory. So some people call a sound bath a sound bath. Some people call it a sound healing. Some people say sound bath healing. It depends on where you are in the world. I think in America, in the US, they call it sound baths, but I know in Australia, it's more termed as sound healing. And it just depends where you're schooling or you're training or wherever you develop this talent from is you've adopted the words. But essentially what it is a sound meditation. So from what I offer my clients and participants is an opportunity just to rest, relax, have a nap, literally, while you receive a beautiful meditation that is comprised of different sounds from different kinds of instruments. So I specialize in a particular crystal singing bowl called alchemy crystal singing bowls. They originated from America from a company called Crystal Tones. They're a blend of semi-precious stones, metals, earth metals, crystals, and together with the size and the note and what they're made up of, they have different sounds and different frequencies and different intentions. They're just gorgeous to hear. So playing them is essentially, that's the crux of what my sound baths are about, is crystal singing bowls. As well as incorporating other things within the sound bath, such as chimes or rattles and shakers, something a bit more shamanic, something a bit more drummy in there. And one day, it's on my manifestation board to own a crystal harp, which is absolutely divine. It's very ethereal, very like angels opening gateways type sounds. I can't wait to own one of them. Yeah, when I recently saw one and heard one, I'm like, that's mine. I will be having one of them. But essentially, it's basically a meditation where you just relax and tune into the sounds. Now, sound in itself is, through science, has proven that it can change and shift our vibration and frequency, and that it can also help entrain our brainwave states. So I like to describe it as if you can imagine pendulums that are being set off at different times. What sound does, and sound waves, is they actually come in and align the pendulums up so that they start swinging. If they start off at different times, they eventually harmonize and they entrain, and then they start swinging together in unity, right? So we as human beings have our own signature vibrational frequency, and often when we're in a state of let's say maybe trauma or stress or anxiety, or we're in a lower vibrational state within our emotions, it plays an effect on our vibration. And that's when things like discomfort, dis-ease, and other things start to manifest within our cells in our physical form. What sound does is comes in and entrains our own frequency of vibration back into that place of harmony, or I don't really want to say balance, because, you know, balance is such one of those words where you're like, well, what is balance? But it does. It brings us back into a place where we're in our own equilibrium or homeostasis. Now, sound baths, it's literally that you're being bathed in the sound, essentially, I think is where the bath aspect comes
That
from. It
makes
doesn't necessarily
sense.
mean that you need to have bubbles or water, but also within ourselves, as human beings, we're made up of liquids and fluids, and some people say like what 70-80% of water. Sound has, even through science, have shown that sound travels the most efficiently and effectively and quickest through water. For example, if you hear a whale, you know how they say you hear whales singing off kilometers away from where you are, but they sound like they're right next to you. So you can imagine that sound moving through water, which is what we are, has the most efficient way of creating that healing within our bodies, within our physical form. So that's essentially what sound baths are. Some people specialize in gongs, or Tibetan singing bowls, or
I've heard of those,
other
yes.
things like that. Yeah, so gongs are quite popular. I get a lot of people saying, oh, I went to this place in Perth and they play gongs and I just love the gongs. And I'm like, that's great. I'm a crystal ball player. That's lovely.
I've went to something with gongs once, which I was not expecting, and
Yeah.
it startled me. I think I may have even swore, and I was in a whole room.
Oh.
Not my finest moment. But if you're
Oh,
not knowing and
gongs?
suddenly they're loud gong sounds, it's
Mm.
yes.
And gongs are they are magical. They are really magical. I don't know gongs well enough, but I know, first of all, you need to have a big setup. Like, you've got to wheel them in on frames. They're heavy, they're big. But there's all different kinds. Like, they can represent planets and notes, and you can play them in all different ways. Again, there's a whole learning within that. At one stage, I did test the waters within myself and go, do I need to learn gongs? Because everybody says they love gongs. And I went, no, I just need to learn the crystal bowls. That's my jam. I'm the crystal bowl girl.
Can you do this I was gonna say online and in person?
Yes. Yeah. So at this moment in time, so for the listeners, are based in Broome, Western Australia, which is in the northwest location of regional Western Australia. So if you think of the top western corner of WA in Australia, that's where I am. But surprisingly, I live in a community that is just incredibly receptive to all different forms of natural therapies and healings and sound baths. So I hold weekly sound bath events in a group setting. And then I also offer either in-person or online individual sound baths as well, which is what I absolutely love. And I know a lot of people go, is it the same? Like, it can't possibly be the same as what you would receive in person. Like, it cannot possibly be the same. And I can tell you it is. It's all through intention, and as long as you have a good microphone as well and a good setup. I know for a fact I've had so many people say, hearing your sound bath online was literally like I was there in the room with you right now. And me living in a remote location, I don't get to go to a lot of sound baths, just, down the street or over at that yoga studio or a couple of, kilometers away. So a lot of sound baths and a lot of training I have experienced has been online. And again, you have a really good set of headphones, a really good speaker. You can literally be there with that person at that moment and have the exact same experience. So I offer them online, which is lots of fun because you never know which way it's going to go and how it's going to happen. It's always tailored to the client and whatever they need, as well as do, either private groups or corporate groups online or in person as well. So I love what I do. I often, when I'm driving,
You can tell.
I tell you what, when I often drive to my sound bath classes, I hold them on Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons, and I'm like, yeah, it's a weekend. Yeah, I'm driving. This is nice. Wow, I get to do this for my job. People pay me to have a sleep. This is amazing,
And my next question is, like you mentioned, sound healing, sound bath.
Mm.
What is a good for? Like, would it be for people who struggle with sleeping? Like, what if someone's listening to this and goes, okay, I get the concept, but like, how would I know if I would benefit from one? Like, what kind
Yeah.
of things would people come to you for?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that it's amazing for is just calming the busy mind. I know that our mind is busy for a reason. It's there for a reason. We have thoughts for a reason. It does all the things that it does for a reason. I know people sometimes just want to not have those thoughts and not have that feeling that they're thinking. Sound just somehow gets in and it cuts through the crap where you often just can't think of anything, even if you tried. You're in this beautiful meditative state where you're neither asleep nor awake. You're just in that place of being, and your mind just rests. And I think it's because through brainwave states and that your mind has got something else to focus on, you can't think of anything. So you have that sense of peaceful mind. It can help people who may be struggling with discomforts, like physical discomforts, because again, as I said, it comes within our it helps entrain our own frequency and vibration, which can shift our physical form. Because at the end of the day, as science has proven, and I will say science a lot in this because everybody thinks that sometimes in the healing natural therapy space, it's all woo-woo. But as Westerners, we love science. We love to know that something is proved to be real. So science has shown that we are a bunch of atoms vibrating together en masse to create a physical form. So if that physical form isn't vibrating at its best state, if you have something that comes in like beautiful crystal bowls, a really nice sound that sounds peaceful and relaxing, it shifts and changes us. It can change us on a physical way. I've had people come in and said, I had the worst toothache. I've had it for 2 weeks and nothing's cured it. Dentist said whatever. And they've left and gone, it's just gone now. Like it hasn't come back. I've had people feel physical shifts and change within their body within a session or afterwards, things that they felt of discomfort. It helps with our mental state, with people who are feeling highly stressed or anxious, because again, it gets us to deeply rest. People who are feeling stress and anxiety, it can really help us with that. People who do have depression as well, because again, it shifts and changes our brainwave states. It gets into our alpha and our theta brainwave state, which we are naturally cycling through when we're going to sleep and when we are sleeping. And it can also help us when and this is the one thing I really do love. I honestly feel that in this world, we're so busy in our minds and we're so busy thinking that sometimes we're so overwhelmed with our thoughts, we forget to know what we're feeling, and to have that solid intuitive trust and guidance within that this is what I'm meant to be doing, or this is who I am, or this is okay right now, because we're too busy in our thoughts and thinking and fear, and all those and having all those fears and those worries and those conversations and all the things that happen. I'm sure you know, Suzanne, from working with clients, right?
I was going to say, I love the sound of this, no pun intended. We're
Yeah.
almost at time, but there's one last question I wanted to ask, because you
Yeah.
do mention, people can go to sleep or, whatever. If someone's going to book one online, because I don't know if any of my audience is in Broome, but if you are,
Yeah.
let me know. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
But if people
Yeah,
are like, oh
please
my
do.
gosh, Anna, I want one of these.
Yeah.
And you said as long as they've got good speakers or whatever, are they on camera or are they lying down? Like, how do they actually receive it? As you said, they don't
Yeah.
need to be in the bath, but
No. You know what? If we're doing a one-to-one sound bath, I probably prefer you not to be in the bath, because I do not want to see a naked body. I'm
well,
sure
that
you've got a
goes
beautiful
without
body.
saying. But then again, but I'm just
Yeah,
thinking, do they need to be
we
in
have to
front of the?
probably have some strict rules here. The sound bath is recorded. You could go back and listen to it in the bath another time should you wish to. I do have sound baths online that you could listen to while you are in the bath without having me live.
The personalized one is kind of like I'm a hypnotherapist, and
Yes.
I don't know if I've actually spoken about this on the show, but anyway, there's the things you can find online, or you can buy somebody's pre-recorded. But having an individual session, like if you book a session with Anna and say this is what I've got going on, and then you can tune, once again, no pun intended, but
I know,
the
right?
frequencies or whatever to that individual, it's so much
Yes.
more powerful than even if it was yours buying a pre-recorded or listening to something that you've done for a
100%.
group.
Exactly. And so if someone was coming to me online, we'd usually do it through Zoom, because I like to see the person have that conversation in the first place. And then from there, you can mute yourself, turn your video off. You can lie on your bed, lie on the couch, lie in a hammock, sit on a chair, whatever you want. And then you're obviously there receiving the sound bath. When it's finished, sometimes I'll say, come back and I'd love to have a chat to you, see how you're feeling. But if you don't, because you've blissed out and you're somewhere else, I just end the recording and I'll send it to you anyway. And then you can re-listen to it again anytime you want.
I'm so getting
But
one of
yeah.
these. You convinced me. I was kind of like, I love the sound of this. And I'm getting a hammock for Christmas. Like, I know it's only
Oh,
early in the
brilliant.
year, but I was like, so
Well,
then I can listen to my replay in my hammock.
yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much for, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's right. So yeah, I generally do them on Zoom, but I have done previously live recorded ones via YouTube. So on my YouTube channel, there's a few hanging out there as well to check out.
Awesome. So let everyone know where they can find you. I was going to say what you
Yes.
can do, but we know what you do now. Where can they find
Yes.
you?
So you can find me at annahastie.com, which is ANNAHASTIE.com. That's my website. You'll find all the fun things about me there. I also have Instagram and Facebook, which is Anna F. Hasty. So F for Freddie in the middle of Anna and Hasty, both Facebook and Instagram. And then on YouTube, find me again under the same thing, Anna F. Hasty. And then you'll find there I'll probably got some podcast episodes as well as sound baths. If you do want to book in for a one-to-one sound bath, please do via my website. There's all booking links in there and you can get all busy finding the right time and day and let's get this happening because I love supporting people through online sound baths. And I also have a bunch of free like meditation, sound baths, etc. on my podcast, Alchemy Mindset with Anna Hasty, and you can find that on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other podcast
All the
platforms.
platforms. And look out for it. Upcoming guest.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me, Anna. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.